There is an intense battle of tug of war going on right now. Businesses want employees back in the office, and employees want to maintain the freedom of working remotely. Who is going to win? There may not be a more polarizing issue than the great remote work debate. At the start of 2020, the perfect storm of COVID and Zoom allowed millions of office workers to remain productive from within the confines of their own homes. 5 years later, many employers now want to transition back to a traditional in-office environment, and remote employees aren't willing to budge. One thing is for certain: the definition of hybrid work and its implementation needs to change, and it can be done in a way that benefits both employers and employees. Social media is littered with posts advocating for an employee's ability to work remotely. Much of this noise is coming from recruiters. Their primary incentive is for employees to hire their services, thus, they do themselves justice by creating the straw man argument that any form of an in-office presence is the equivalent of modern slavery. That's simply not true, and it's a slap in the face to the millions of workers whose jobs can't physically be completed remotely. In the early 2020s, there was a tremendous shortage of workers. Employees held a tremendous amount of leverage. Thanks to the digital era, they were now able to find employment beyond just their city of residence. Employers were offering substantial wage increases to compete for new talent. However, they were reluctant to do so to retain their existing resources. This vicious cycle continued for years until recently, where the power has shifted back to the employers. The adoption of artificial intelligence and its potential to reduce staff is a major contributor to this disruption. So much so that Gen Alpha's primary concern at graduation is finding any kind of meaningful employment. Now that employers have more leverage, some of them are wielding their power and demanding that remote workers return back to the office, at least part-time, if not scrapping their remote working capabilities altogether. Working remotely has simplified the lives of so many people. Those with a 30-minute commute have gained back 20 hours per month, and they're saving substantially on transportation costs. Health has improved with employees' ability to create nutritious meals at home, and some even use the time savings to exercise during breaks. Employees feel more productive with the elimination of in-office distractions. Even though many use their work-from-home time to tend to childcare needs and complete basic housekeeping tasks, their work output generally remains the same as when they were in the office, if not higher. These are only some of the many benefits that remote work provides, and as I'm sure you can understand, this is why many are unwilling to forego them. But employees need to let go of the lie that remote work is a right. It isn't a right, it's a benefit. Are there employees who take advantage of remote work? Absolutely. The individual who mastered the art of looking busy in a cubicle can now do so with ease from home. Some spend their time playing video games before or during meetings, and others are able to get a jump start on happy hour, unbeknownst to their employer. Working remotely has not created lazy employees. They've always been there. The abuses of poor performers are now magnified now that their lack of productivity is not confined to the four walls of an office. Employers still want to measure productivity in hours worked rather than tasks completed. If an associate is able to complete their work in half the time as the rest of the team, they should not be penalized with an additional workload. The real problem often stems from ineffective middle management who are not leading their teams. Project-based work should be assigned with clear deliverables. If an employee is hitting their mark, their working hours should not be scrutinized. Leaders need to feel empowered to correct the behaviors of habitual low-performing employees and hire A-plus talent that's going to get the job done. Focus on results, not hours in a chair. Implementing technology that will monitor employee activity is not going to prevent the bad apples from circumventing the system, but it will certainly squeeze your top-performing talent to their breaking point, where they will seek other opportunities where they feel trusted and respected. Technology will never replace real face-to-face interaction, and despite the claims of others, some work is more productive when everyone is in the same physical room. It just is. If you can't admit this, you are lying to yourself. Depending on the type of the meeting, Zoom or Teams may actually be the best fit. I am not advocating that every meeting should be held in person. But take, for example, a strategy or brainstorming session where numerous stakeholders are present. There may be physical handouts on the conference table, somebody mapping out an idea on a whiteboard, and several side conversations happening simultaneously. Exchanges may occur where being able to read the energy of the room is critical for the communicator. These are things that can be mimicked in Zoom or Teams, but in certain situations, they are far less effective. Many employers have attempted to call a truce in this work-from-home tug-of-war by experimenting with hybrid policies. Typically, this requires employees to be in the office 3 days per week, with 2 floating remote days. This experiment has failed wildly. The employees who are required to sit in an office for 3 days per week and aren't making meaningful in-person contributions are left wondering why they can't just complete these tasks from home. Since remote days are often floating in this approach, teams don't have a full in-office presence on any given day of the week, thus defeating the goal of having in-person collaboration. Nothing will frustrate an employee more than seeing half of their team attend the same meeting digitally that they are required to be there for physically. What's the point? So let's fix the definition of hybrid remote work. Rather than providing a pool of remote working days and requiring X physical days in the office, the ultimate solution is to allow your team to work remotely the majority of the time. However, in this model, employers reserve the right to require an occasional in-office presence. To maintain the respect of their employees, employers should provide advance notice, make the workday productive, and keep these sessions infrequent. Despite the negative stories that are shared on social media, some employers will still benefit from requiring a traditional 100% in-office presence. These employers are willingly limiting their talent pool to the local community. For these companies, the in-office presence is so critical to their service, brand, or culture that they are willing to buck the trend of other employers by not offering remote capabilities. Take, for example, Elon Musk, who wants all of his employees back in the office at Tesla. It's not because he doesn't trust them, it's for the sake of the company's culture. He rightly points out that his hard-working factory employees also have families and value their time, yet they don't have the capability to work remotely. For the sake of solidarity, he wants a united front at Tesla. And for Elon, that means show up to the office. Employers need to carefully evaluate their organization and determine if traditional 100% in-office, 100% remote, or the new redefined hybrid makes sense for their teams. Naturally, there are pros and cons to each working location option, but one thing is for certain. The hybrid option that's being used today is doomed for failure and needs to be redefined. If you'd like to discuss strategies for your business, we would love to talk with you. Please check out the comment section or video description for instructions on how to schedule a complimentary consultation with one of our experienced business advisors today. Are you ready to learn how to make your business or team more efficient without requiring everybody to return to the office? Make sure you watch this video next. Go on. Click it.